about to start, sorry for the delay. And we really want to get you started with the excitement of the Africa's Women's Day, as well as celebrating of the 60th anniversary of PAWO, the African Women Organization that started this. So we're just starting slowly. I want to welcome you, everyone. Today is all about celebration as well, celebrating you, the unsung heroes. That's what it is about. So my name is Joy Tend, the founder, CEO of African Women in Europe and African Women in Trade, and also the one behind pulling this program together with my team as the project leader. So I'm very excited to be here, and I'm really looking forward to get this discussion started because we have really great speakers here waiting to start with us. And with me here, I'll be really working together with the moderator. As you can see, they're very glamorous. I salute her as well for the great work she does. And I'm also looking at all the guest speakers coming. I want to salute you, all of you. I also want to thank you all for choosing to join us today. As we celebrate the Africa's Women Day, which is, as I said, the 60th African Women Organization anniversary. And we have been following them in the morning, and the program is still going on the ground in Namibia as we speak right now. We would like to pass our special thanks to our honorable guests who are here. The First Lady of Malawi, Her Excellent Madam Monica Chakwera, and also my Lord, Honorable Justice Florence Ikwuoma Duroha-Igwe from Nigeria. And we also have Dr. Penelope Baba Tete Adinku from Ghana, and we also have Dr. Justin Mutale from Zambia, and also not forgetting our young and enthusiastic lady, Ms. Isha Mohammed Abdallah from Kenya, for being with us here with us. We are very honored to have you here. And also, as I mentioned, all of you here who are joining us, please share. We are also not only here on this platform, we are also sharing on YouTube as well. And our guests who are watching us virtually from all over the world, I want to salute you too. Thank you all for being here. And also, I also want to thank also the African women, just to give you a little background about what the Africa Women's Day is all about. That's why I'm here, to really also give the awareness why we are doing what we're doing today. The Africa Women's Day is observed annually across the continent on the July 31st, and is a day marked to recognize and affirm the role of women in achieving the political freedom of Africa and advancing the social and economical status of women on the continent. And I want to emphasize that because it's a very, very important to recognize our women who are also part of this movement. So all this is going to be really, we are really excited because here we have the Africa Women's Day, as I said, was pronounced as a day to be commemorated during the first conference of Pan-African Women Organization, PAWO, and which was held in July 1962 in Dar es Salaam, that by then called Tanganyika. I remember that when I was also in the high school in Kenya, and now it's called, as you know, as Tanzania. So I'm joined here with Abigail, who is going to be joining me here to help go throughout also this the introduction and also opening up the ceremony as we get started. As soon as she's able to unmute herself, let me know, and so that we can be able to move on to the next part, because we are here to empower you. And as we are waiting for her to unmute herself, kindly help us to share as much as possible. We are also on YouTube as we speak. The links are going to be shared on the chat so that you can share with you. Let's not forget other people out there, because it's all about awareness. We want them to know what is, we have a day, Africa's Women's Day, and we can only do this when we share. And that's what we are here for, the awareness. And we are very glad about it. And if Abigail is not able, because I know on the continent right now, there's a lot of issues at the moment. I'm speaking Germany, and I know the privilege of that being in the continent, in the country where you have the internet connection. We might have some issues, hiccups here and there as soon as she's able to unmute herself so that she can take us through the other part of this. And now I'm going to just to highlight you also what we all decided to do along all this. And as I wanted to say is, although as you all know, African Women Day has been in existence, few people know about this. And last year, on the 2021st, we focused on past and present from women president and prime minister. If you are here, you remember this very well, since independence, and thereafter unveiled contribution to the growth of Africa as a continent. So this was something that we, as a group of women and organizations, came together and said, let's help in the awareness of this. We were able to improve on the lack of awareness, reaching out and engaging over 10,000 Africans globally, and to give the political legacy of an African woman the spotlight and honor it deserves as well. This year is a special year because we were spotlighting, or the spotlight was on the Unsung Heroines of Africa. So, and if you have been following us since the 1st of July till today, we have been spotlighting an amazing African woman who is also making great strides in various fields. And from there, so we were able to we can also say that it has been such an inspiration journey for us as well as individual, because here at African Women's Day, and we hope that you all have been inspired by the great achievement of these women. And if you have not seen this, it's all on our website as we speak, and we're going to share the link there of our website and videos of the past that we did. Africa's Women Day, Africa's Women Day .Africa. That's the website. We shared spotlighted of the African women from every single country on the continent. However, we made a conscious effort to ensure that the representation, the various regions of the continent, East and Africa and South Africa, West Africa, Central Africa, and North Africa. So this has been something that we have really tried to reach you, and we know you're there, and we're going to be continuing. This is not the end. Within the course of the program, we will play a video showing you the 31 that we did until now, women we spotlighted this month. So please stay tuned so that you can see that as well if you have not followed up. But the story about just not knowing them, it's also knowing what these women have done. This is something that we need to acknowledge as well. And as I mentioned there. So we are there also to say that there are so many more African women to celebrate, and this will continue to do so as we completely out to change the narrative. We believe stepping in the right way narrative is the only healthy way to communicate our history to the younger generation of Africa women and men. So I'm very delighted for that it's there. And I'm hoping my colleague here will be able to join. Abigail, if you're there, just unmute yourself and put the camera on. I would love to, because you have been doing amazing work in the background, and it would be also nice to really be here celebrating this day, and we want to celebrate you. So thank you so much, everyone, for coming, and the team for the work that and time you have put past since last year for the awareness program. We have seen many organizations that are today hosting events to celebrate from the awareness we did last year, and we have also elevated them on our platform, and you can see that on the website, some of the events that are going forward. Before I pass to the moderator, I want to say a quote that was said actually during today's PAWO meeting and the celebration of 60th anniversary, which is happening in Namibia, by a woman I admire and I look up on, Honorable Minister Thokozani Dlamini-Zuma. She said this quote she quoted a quote that was said by the late president of South Africa, His Excellency Oliver Tambo, if you remember, and he actually put this state: no country can boast of their freedom until the women are free. No country can boast of being free until its women are free. mark that one. We have a long way to go, but you're getting there. I would like now to welcome the moderator of the day, who will guide us through the program of the day as we celebrate the Unsung Heroine of Africa. Please welcome Madam Clara. As you can see, she's there, very, very glamorous. And I want to also celebrate her as well, because she has done amazing, amazing work and being here and celebrating women and pushing us forward. But I will not do her justice if I don't read her bio, then you don't know her. So Clara Okoro is the founder and chief operating officer at the travel tech company, and which is called My Beautiful Africa, a graduate of University of Lagos, Nigeria, with a BA in education. She set up the first ever brand-focused TV show in Nigeria, known as Brand World TV Show, a program she says was designed to preach the gospel of branding of Africa and recognizing the brands where the new wealth creation in any modern economy. A constant fix in most creative content events globally, such as Cannes and Lions Advertising Festival, Festival of Media, Montreux, Switzerland, which is my neighboring country here, Samsung African Week, Cape Town, which was happening in South Africa, and New York Fashion Week. And then the show came to represent the platform where brands tell their stories beyond 80s commercial. So I want to welcome Madame here because she is doing amazing. And give her the stage is all yours to lead us through the program of today, because we want to hear what the message you'll be preparing with our guests. I hand over to you. Welcome, Madame. We celebrate you today.
Thank you very much, Joy. You know, it was quite amazing watching you reel out so much about the African woman, whom I personally am extremely passionate about, because they do so much to the growth of the entire African continent, and yet they are so totally unsung in their efforts in contributing to the advancement of the world. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen from Lagos, Nigeria. My name is Clara Okoro, and I'm the founder of My Beautiful Africa, a continent I am so passionate about. I'd like to welcome you all to this special day, the 31st July, which is marked as the African Women's Day. And we figured it was extremely important to celebrate across all spectrum African women who have contributed in no small means to advancing the vision of Mother Africa as a continent. Welcome to our little bit in celebrating this enigmatic woman known as the African woman. I'm going to be carrying on the role of the master of ceremony for this event, and I can assure you I'll very much keep to time. And in doing this, I would like to start off with my incredible guests. There are 5 of them, and I'll first like to reel out their names before I move straight into the program. We have first on the list, Her Excellency, Mrs. Monica Chakwera, First Lady of the Republic of Malawi and founder of Shaping Our Future Foundation. She'll be the first guest I'll be taking on. Second is Dr. Penelope Baba Tete Adinku, who is the first female Ghanaian cardiothoracic surgeon. A very incredible feat, you would agree with me. Third is Honorable Justice Florence Ikwuoma Duroha-Igwe, retired, the first female administrative judge of Imo State Judiciary, the High Court of Justice, and the president of the FID Foundation. Fourth is Her Excellency Dr. Justina Mutale, who is the founder and president of the Justina Mutale Foundation. She is from the Zambia. Ms. Esha Mohammed Abdallah is founder of Her Narrative, board member of the National Youth Council of Kenya, who is doing amazing, amazing work in Kenya, and I had a fantastic interview with her last week. So ladies and gentlemen, once again, welcome to today's event, and we'll dive in straight to the program. I'd like to welcome, first and foremost, an incredible First Lady, a woman I read her biography and was incredibly inspired by her work. Please grant me the privilege to share this short biography with you all. Her Excellency Mrs. Monica Chakwera is the wife of Dr. Lazarus Makati Chakwera, who was sworn in as the 6th president of the Republic of Malawi on the 28th of June, 2020. Her Excellency is a chartered accountant and a member of the Association of Chartered Certified Accountants, ACCA. She is also a qualified social worker with a Bachelor of Arts in Social Work degree from the University of the North in South Africa. She worked with several international organizations, such as the British Council, International Crops Research Institute for the Semi-Arid Tropics, ICRO-SAT, Plan International, the Irish Embassy, as well as the accounting firm Deloitte. Her years are so much incredibly interwoven with all the works she has done. Her Excellency has been working on supporting the development of the village girl and the street children, 2 causes she says is very passionate to her. Her passion for the village girl is inspired by her own roots in the village, where she was raised alongside her 7 siblings. It is this experience that has made her an advocate of women and girl child education, and as such, she founded the Shaping Our Future Foundation in August 2020. You can read up more about this incredible First Lady on the links we're going to search on the chat list. I very much admire her courage in being able to reach to the grassroots to celebrate with us the incredible African woman whom a lot of people tend to forget add their own value at the base of the pyramid to the growth of our continent. Would like to welcome you, Her Excellency, Mrs. Monica Chakwera, to the African Women's Day.
Thank you very much. It's nice meeting you people, even though virtually. Congratulations for a remarkable 60 years of empowering women in Africa. I strongly believe that until the African woman takes her rightful place and plays her rightful role in society, Africa shall always struggle to rise to her rightful place. Thank you for inviting me to speak on the topic, Shaping the Future, the role of women in Africa. 50 years plus ago, I was just like any other girl, like the director of ceremony has already stated, growing up in rural Malawi, not even dreaming that one day I would occupy the privileged position I occupy today. If it was not for my mother who stood up and prioritized her little girl to go to secondary school instead of her brother, she decided I go first because the fees wouldn't be enough for 2 people. So she decided I go first. I know I would not be here if she didn't do that. When women are empowered with the right education, skills, opportunities, and you know, whatever we can be empowered with, we are able to contribute a lot. We can contribute to the growth of Africa economy. Economically empowered mothers will in turn empower their children, help their children to achieve their full potential, ably support their girls to stay in school and raise achievers. Women that are economically empowered are the weapon we need in order to break the cycle of poverty as a continent. Africa is flooded with countless stories of women who are rising above the storms to create a better life for all, like we have heard even now with all those accolades of the women that you've mentioned. The African woman is epitome of strength. Africa's development challenges will be fully addressed the day the African woman will be fully involved. She's the greatest asset in the economic development of the continent. I believe among the so many roles, women in Africa have an important role of, number one, ensuring that there is a balanced women's participation in the health, agriculture, nutrition, economic policy landscape on the continent, among others. Secondly, ensuring that there is genuine political will to ensure economic access to education for every child in Africa. No girl should fail to realize her potential because of lack of school fees or necessities at school. Thirdly, ensuring that there is genuine political will that enables women to participate in political and economic institutions. Ensuring that we make history by erasing the statistics that say a greater percentage of Africa illiterates are women. And so we have to put women in front, even in positions in government, so that we can pull all the girls to get educated. Ensuring that, lastly, ensuring that cultural and social norms in Africa are supportive of women's involvement in politics, education, business, and other economic activities. I've seen that if leadership make a decision to put women in front, that helps to change all the attitudes so that women can go ahead and do stuff in any country. For Africa to reach the sustainable development goals, women and girls must be protected, educated, empowered, and in good health. And I want to champion that in our country. The small steps we take today, that will shape Africa's tomorrow. I thank you all for your attention.
Thank you very much, First Lady. It's absolutely amazing to have you share your thoughts with us on the incredible things you have done for our continent. And I'd like to congratulate you on this very special day in which we're celebrating the African woman. The important angle for me is the trajectory from a little village girl to the exalted office of the First Lady. It's an incredible journey. I'd like you to share with us your thoughts on what you think governance can do and play in terms of understanding the role of the girl child in the African society, using policies to advance this cause.
Like I said, political will is very important. Actually, I've just come to realize that that political will plays a very great role. I am coming from the church. We've been leading a church, and leadership was in the forefront, encouraging women to do things that the church has planned, and we accepted women to be full pastors like any other. And our church was the first one in Malawi to ordain women. So from my experience there, as long as there is political will or leadership in forefront doing that, things do happen. Because right now, I think our church has the most ordained women. We are the first one to ordain a woman, which is some years ago. And now I think we top the list. So, and because of that, our church has grown so fast. So I'm sure when I say if leadership gets involved in doing that, things work.
Amazing. So we have some countries in East Africa who have taken the lead. A country that comes to mind is a country like Rwanda. Rwanda, affecting women in that could be disconnected from it. And this is a long, it's not the child.
Sorry, our internet is not, I can't hear you.
Yes.
Yeah, sorry, yes, just a little technicality, yes. Yeah, Tara, you can continue. Thank you.
You're muted.
Tara, you're muted.
Clara, you're muted. Please unmute yourself.
Is education a critical factor, First Lady, in determining where the girl child eventually ends up in her life journey?
For me, that is critical. And like I said, even in our country, our statistics are not doing well for the girl child, but we want to work on that. Because once a girl is educated, definitely, I think 100%, her children are going to be educated. And it's not going to be a struggle because she'll be in the forefront. I take it from my mother. My mother was not that educated, but she wanted her girl to be educated. And I got all of us, village life is tough. She had 8 children, all of us got educated. Once a mother is educated, definitely all the children will be educated, male or female.
All right. Now, finally, let's look at a very critical factor in the continent that has over centuries affected the women of Africa. We are deeply entrenched in culture, and a lot of cultural biases have been what have held women, over the years, over the centuries, from advancing their own dreams, their own causes. All across the continents, women have problems defining who they are because they feel the family will be against them if they step in this direction. How do we merge customs, cultures to become more enabling from women to be able to put forth their talents, to put forth themselves to help build the continent of our dream as Africa?
For me, bottom line is still education. Because once you are educated, you understand more, you can read more about it. In Africa, I think it's everywhere, but let me take an example of Malawi. Our customs, if you study the customs and what happens, they thrive on fear. So if you're not educated, you're gripped with the fear that the other ladies will tell you, if you do this, this will happen to you if you do. So when you are young, you just grasp anything those people are telling you. But when you get educated, you get liberated. You know, okay, this is a custom, this is our culture, but we can still work within those cultures, get educated, get married. Let's say I got married at 24. I was mature, I knew all the cultures, and I got married to somebody with a different culture. But I managed to work on all those because I understood. So for those that are not educated and maybe they're your aunt, you have to treat them carefully and help them understand that the cultures, they are just, a lot of it is fear. You obey because you're afraid. But when you're educated, you obey when you know this is going to be helpful, this is going to work for your family and stuff like that. So for me, the bottom line is education.
Is education. Finally, would you give us a word of advice on how to balance our lives as women in the crossroads we find ourselves as African women, with a lot of impact from the Western world and our cultural background as Africans, and thrive with the family? Because a lot of young women are finding it difficult with marriages in today's world in Africa because of the influence of the Western culture and also the stronghold of the cultures they are coming with and trying to find a middle ground. It's these women who raise the men, and this conflict of cultures is affecting family life for them. Give us your final words on this before we sign off.
For me, culture or education or whatever you read from other things should be secondary. The first thing is, what do you want to achieve? What do you want to do? And how do you want to live your life? So like I said, maybe I'm biased because I've spent most of my life in the church, leading the church, and I put God first. So when I do that, everything falls in place. And that's what I advise other people as well. Put God first, everything else will fall in place, and it does. So you don't have to do this because somebody else is doing. It's what do you want to do with the decision that you have made, how you're going to live your life. And I've seen many, many people being helped with that.
You are amazing, madam. And once again, thank you and congratulations as an amazing First Lady of Malawi.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you for choosing me to speak on this. It's my passion. I like it.
Thank you very much, Mom. All right, so we go to our next guest, who is an amazing daughter of Africa. Dr. Penelope Barbara Tate Adinku is the first female Ghanaian cardiothoracic surgeon. She decided to go into the field because of the investment Dr. Kwabena Frimpong Boateng made in that sector and because of her love for children. In this male-dominated field where males are generally accepted to be the surgeons, her accomplishments paves the way for women on a quest to become cardiothoracic surgeons in Ghana. Sometimes when I'm working with my husband, who is not a doctor, but I have a stethoscope around my neck, he is referred to as the doctor, and I'm just ignored, she says. So the bias is out there. I'm hoping that with this barrier out of the way, more females will enter this space and it will actually become a norm, Dr. Adinku says. Welcome very much to the Africa Women's Day, and you are celebrated today, Dr. Penelope.
Thank you very much. Thank you so much.
Awesome, amazing. So let's look at some of the things that, you know, became a challenge for you on this journey. Someone inspired you, a leader, and gave you the faith that you could advance your dreams. Despite being a female, did you have any fears that your gender, you know, could be a stumbling block to achieving these dreams?
Well, definitely. I did have some fears much earlier on before I pursued cardiothoracic surgery. Even going into surgery in the first place, I had people asking me whether this is what I really wanted to do, that it was going to take a lot of my time. It was going to be very involving and take me away from my family. And it had me concerned. So I had to do a lot of soul searching and praying and talking to people who could counsel me. So yes, I did have some fears stepping into the profession.
Awesome. Now we're talking about upholding women achievements in Africa. You gave us a bit of the picture, you know, with the anecdote where you said you were walking down the street with your husband and you had a stethoscope around your neck. But people were actually thinking he was the one who was the cardiothoracic doctor and not you. These biases are so deep in us. Why do you think women are looked upon as people who could not thrive in such challenging jobs or aspire to be just because of their gender?
Sorry, your line was breaking. I didn't hear the question.
I'm asking about the barriers that you feel as some of the stumbling blocks placed before women in taking these challenging roles of some of
yes, doctor, just bear with us.
Hello?
Just a little technicality from
Okay,
from
all
the
right.
mother.
I'll wait for you.
Okay, thank you. Okay, she's good now.
Very, you know, high profile. I think,
Hello.
are you back on now, Dr.
Yes, I'm here. Can you hear me? Hello.
Yeah, Clara on mute. Yes, just the other side of technology. Yes, on
I
mute.
think she's muted.
Yeah,
Oh.
okay, yeah, she's good now.
All right, Dr. Fellow, go ahead.
Okay, so some of the biases that we face as women in demanding professions. Well, for me, being a surgeon in Ghana and maybe generally Africa, women are not seen to be doctors. We are more seen to be in the role of nurses. And so you have a lot of patients coming to the hospital and then not regarding the woman as a doctor. The example you quoted was right. There are a lot of times when I'm working with my husband and people ask for directions or help from him, and then he turns to me, and I have to help the person. In the consulting room, when patients come, a few of them are cautious about putting their trust in a female because they are used to the tall, macho men being the doctors. So that bias is there, and though we've come a long way in terms of incorporating more women into the medical field, I think there's still quite a lot of work to be done to educate the public, to let them know that women can be terrific doctors. We are terrific doctors. And so the respect should be there for both men and women. I also think that traditionally women are seen to be considered as maybe traditionally housewives, but not seen in leadership positions. That's the bias out there. But I think that our generation now, the men are helping us a lot in that regard, supporting us both at home and at the workplace. So it makes our work now a bit easier. We are able to go ahead and achieve our dreams because we know that when we come back home, there's not too much demand on us. We have the strength to go out and pursue what pertains to our vision. So these are some of the biases out there that personally I have encountered. Being relegated to the background because I'm a woman, people expecting me to keep quiet because I'm a woman in meetings, not to speak up. But I've had good mentors who have encouraged me along the way. And so the role of mentorship is very important in overcoming biases in the world. You need people to encourage us to speak up. And I would encourage women out there to speak up and not let anyone shut them down or make them keep quiet. Thank you.
All right, so we have this issue of the imposter syndrome for a lot of women. In Africa, we have women presidents, we have pilots, we have submarine engineers, we have people like your cardiothoracic surgeons, but they still feel inadequate that because of their gender, they are not meant to be on the pedestal where they are. And this has sometimes giving rise to mental issues for women because they're juggling so much in terms of their role as this professional, in terms of family, and in terms of what society is trying to tell them. And we've also seen instances where women, as qualified as they are, as their male counterparts, are not paid the same amount of salaries just because of their gender roles. What do you think should be put in place? Government, education, policies, what are some of the things you suggest? Today is the 60th anniversary of the African woman. The African woman has come a long way. Let's chart a new course and would like to hear from you on such steps to take.
Okay, thank you very much. So yes, I do think that policy should be put in place to help solve this imposter syndrome, right from the household to the facility where the woman works, to the region where she finds herself, and then the country, the national policies. I think that consideration should be given to women, especially when they do qualify for the position. Policies should be in place that make sure that she is not sidelined or cheated. If she's qualified for a job, and she has the same qualification as a man in the same position, they should definitely be on the same salary. I believe that the imposter syndrome does exist. And so we have to go all out in encouraging women to believe in themselves. It gets challenging at times. I mean, there are times when they will question themselves or be depressed. But I think as women, and with such forums as this, I really commend the organizers of this program for putting this in place, because this will lead to empowering women, give us more confidence, give us a voice, you know, and with such programs in place and mentors helping us along the way, I believe that we'll find our voice and speak up. And I believe that I am a Christian. I believe that God has put us here for a purpose. And when we keep in touch with God, speak to him all the time, trust in him, I believe that we can also become powerful and believe in ourselves. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Dr. Penelope. It's been an amazing time talking with you. And once again, on this special day of the African Women's Day, would like to celebrate you as a proud daughter of Africa. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Stu. It's been a pleasure being here. Congratulations.
So it's been an amazing time speaking to these very, very amazing women from Africa. And we'll take a short break now. We'll bring to you the Iyanu Band from the Republic of Benin to give us an amazing performance and what is reflective of our African culture.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Women Association anniversary. We greet everybody. We are here, we are band, Iyanu band from Africa. Culture, some of our reading from Benin. So I hope you guys gonna enjoy it. Thank you very much, and let's do it. Agora, David Ogbeya. David Ogbeya. Kiniwe. 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 Okay. Ago. Ago lodo mitome. Mira dia gbere ma ago, mira dora me do gbere mi se a. Ago mi dolo. Ago mi dolo. no be a way, I go and me do. Yeah. Mira dia baby, my go and mira do me do me say I know. Hey, yeah, I go and me do. I go and me do. Don't be afraid, I go and me do. Nigga gonna me call, nigga gonna your phone, nigga gonna me to pepele boto me phone, nigga gonna jala loy zabo mi ma zangbe toro di dome. Ah ope mi na dora ga unu so mi se ah. Mira bia baby my go, mira la me ro we mi se ah. Yeah, I go and me dolo. I go and me dolo. Don't be afraid. I go and me dolo. Hey, me da go bo no fe bo aka pe yo. Me da go bo no fe bo aka pe yo. Hey, thank you very much. I hope you guys enjoy it. This is the first part of our little performance, and we are going to the second level, which we gonna start from the song that every one of us we know about it. One of our legend, big legend, Bob Marley, his song called Redemption. So we're gonna be singing that song throughout our percussion, and to give you guys another version of this song. So thank you very much. I hope you guys gonna enjoy it. Thank you. All parages that are by, so right to the motion sheet. Minute after that to guide. From the bottom, let's be. But my hand was made strong by the end of the Almighty. We forward in this generation triumphantly. Want to have to sing.
you're muted.
I'm not there for atomic energy. Cause none of them can stop the time. Hey, how long shall I kill our prospect? Thank you very much. I hope you guys enjoy it, and thank you. This is Yanu Ban from Republic of Benin. Thank you.
Thank you very much. The Yanu Band from the Republic of Benin, inspiration music, fantastic song. They do this very well and all the time. Thank you very much. Thank you, my brothers. You guys are the best, and you've added grace to this very historic and special day. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
So we're back. An amazing, amazing presentation from the Yanuba. And I really truly think that's the essence of
yes.
Why Africa to be able to hold on, and one of them is our music, just as you saw there. Thank you very much once again, Yanuban, for being part of the day. And it's really been an interesting version of that rendition from our late legend, Bob Marley. Thank you very much once again for sharing our day with us. So we move on now to the next personality who will be speaking with on the program. And I would like to give a short bio. So I'll be introducing Honorable Justice Florence Ikwuoma Duroha-Igwe, retired. She is the second female chief administrative judge and the first female chief registrar of Imo State. Honorable Justice Florence Ikwuoma Duroha-Igwe is a well-seasoned retired judge of the Imo State Judiciary, the High Court of Justice, Nigeria, and one of the finest of the bench. Can we all please mute our audio? We have a hallback. All right, thank you. She obtained a Bachelor of Law with Honors, LLB Honors, from the prestigious University of Nigeria, Enugu campus in 1977. And after being appointed a magistrate in 1981 and rising through the ranks, she was appointed as a High Court Judge of the Imo State Judiciary in November of 1998, and subsequently as an administrative judge in April of 2015. Her lordship became the first female judge of the local government area, Idato North local government area in Imo State, Nigeria. She's also the president of the FID, Florence Ikwuoma Duroha Foundation, an NGO focused on prison outreaches and women educational programs. Welcome to the program, Your Lordship.
Thank you. I'm glad to be here today.
Amazing. So we really like to celebrate you first and foremost as a proud daughter of Africa. And thank you for honoring us with your presence. We'd like to dive in straight to the few words of beauty that you have for us, because that's the word I'll use about it, because you have a passion for women, you have a passion for the advancement of the cause of the continent, and you told us you have prepared some things you want to share with us, and we would like you to share it with us this afternoon.
Thank you very much, Clara. I'm glad that I'm here today. In fact, I'm excited because anything woman excites me. So I thank the organizers of this sectional event for inviting me as a guest speaker. I'm highly elected to know that this day exists in the calendar of the African Union and that it is getting the recognition it deserves, because an African woman is a phenomenon who can never be celebrated enough. Today, we are celebrating the 60th anniversary of African Women's Day, a day which was set aside to recognize the strength, the beauty, contribution, and achievements of the African woman as instituted by the Pan-African Women Organization, PAWO, in 1962. It is a day which has existed for 60 years, I believe. However, the African woman has existed long before this day, and her journey has been one of resilience, perseverance, and faith. We cannot speak of the existence or progress of Africa without highlighting the roles African women play. As an elder, I can confidently say that I have lived through the progress of the African woman, from a time when she was not allowed to speak in the midst of men because she's a woman, to a time where she was told she could not get an education because she will end up in a man's house as a wife, to a time where she was told that her place is in the kitchen, and now to a time where she is a medical doctor, an engineer, architect, professor, CEO of multinational companies, pilot, academic, lawyer, an honorable judge like myself, president and vice president of countries in Africa. Such as achievement was celebrated during the African Women's Day event of 2021. I want to x-ray a bit the journey so far this past 60 years. The African woman has come a long way. Has it been a smooth and hurdle-free journey for the African woman? Certainly not. It has been one of constantly trying to change the narrative, constantly trying to change the manner in which she's perceived. It's been a journey of constantly trying to break gender role stereotypes, especially at workplaces, and to prove that being a woman does not make her less fit for the job. I will attempt to beam the light or shine the light on some of the areas African women, through their activism, have changed the narrative with better positive legislations. I'm using the African situation as a case study. The African culture permits and encourages child marriages. An African girl child from birth is groomed to be nothing but a wife and mother. So at a very early and tender age, she's married off to a man, most times a man old enough to be her father or even grandfather. Her mother, being a woman herself, is not consulted and have no say in the transaction. The transaction is conducted by men. Girl child marriage comes with its attendant health risks like vesico-vaginal fistula. Our hospitals are full of such cases. Happily, through activism of various women groups and organizations, this practice through legislation has been outlawed. You can see sections 21 to 23 of the Child Rights Act, law number 26 of 2003. In today's society, women have always been in the forefront of positive change. Various women groups and organizations are lobbying for legislation for the protection of women. They are creating awareness of women's rights, instituting actions against the violators of such rights, and carrying out various activities for the betterment of women. FIDA is one of such women organizations. In the area of education, girl child was not a priority, as it was widely believed that she would or should be married off to another family. But in the past 60 years, there has been high level of awareness. Parents and governments are being sensitized on the need for the education of the girl child. As the saying goes, train a woman and you train a nation. In Nigeria, free education has been provided by the government up to a certain level, and it is compulsory that every child must be in school. Section 15 of the Child Rights Act, Supra, Section 42 of the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, 1999, as amended, are laws geared towards the achievement of this noble goal. This development has yielded great dividends. We now have women achievers in all professions, including politics. On the issue of property rights, which I want to highlight, the African woman by her culture is seen as a chattel, and a chattel cannot sit down while another chattel or hold a chattel. An African woman can only own property through her husband or male child. Again, happily, this narrative has been changed by the bold interpretation of our laws on issue of property rights. See our section 43, sub 1 of the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, 1999, as amended. See also the case of Ukeje and Ukeje, reported in 2014 in Law Pavilion Electronic Law Report. And in this particular case, a woman was denied her inheritance rights because simply she was a woman. Her brother said, you cannot partake of the property of her late deceased father. And she went to court, from court of first instance to court of appeal to the Supreme Court of Nigeria, where the judges gave a judgment saying that she is entitled, that she cannot be discriminated against simply because she is a woman. And today, that is the law. And we stand on it, and we are happy that it happened. So the African woman in law no longer suffer gender discrimination. Section 42 of our Constitution again took care of this. So African women who are judges sitting on the bench are raking up these dormant laws for the protection of the African woman. One of such dormant laws is the Married Women Property Act of 1882, which permits women to own and protect their separate property. Even though this law was in existence since 1882, and Nigeria being a common law country, Commonwealth country at that time, we were permitted to apply this law, being a statute of general application. But you find that nobody ever paid attention to it. Nobody ever enforced it until women now started rising up through activism, and then before our Constitution now took care of this lapse. So this is a very happy and good development. Now to governance. Prior to now again, it is unheard of that an African woman who should only be seen, not heard, is aspiring to a position of prominence in the governance of our country. Today, the African woman has made giant strides. We have women presidents like Ellen Johnson Sirleaf, who served as the 24th president of Liberia from 2006 to 2018. In fact, she was the first elected female head of state in Africa. We now have vice presidents, heads of international organizations, ministers, commissioners, and so on and so forth. It is gratifying to note that they are holding their own and excelling. Ngozi Okonjo-Iweala, Director General of the World Trade Organization, comes to mind, and a host of others. Time will not permit me to mention them here. In the Fourth World Conference on Women in Beijing in 1995, it was resolved that women all over the world, including African women, should be allowed to take active roles in the scheme of nation building. This is popularly known as the 35% affirmation action. The United Nations adopted it as a declaration, and most African countries assented. African women in politics have benefited from this, but it is not yet uhuru, as the recommended 35% has not been achieved. So my recommendation, if you are for this, is that the struggle for equality, women's rights, and participation in governance have come a long way, I agree, but not a full circle. Until every woman is sensitized and imbued with confidence, until equality is achieved, the struggle continues. The job goes beyond a chair and a desk. We must take the message to the grassroots. On the average, every woman should know her rights. There are existing laws that foster inequality. Such laws should be amended or repealed where necessary. We must also be proactive in shooting down obnoxious bills that foster inequality. A typical example is the About Women riot of 1929. Through 10,000 women agitating against economic and social political oppression in the then eastern and some parts of southern region of Nigeria. A riot ensued, and this forced the British administration to drop their plans to impose taxes on women and also curb the power of the warrant chiefs who were riding roughshod on the rights of the people. It was the first major challenge to British authority in Nigeria and West Africa during the colonial period. Recently, in Nigeria, there was a bill seeking to amend the obnoxious Federal Character Commission regulation made under the Federal Character Commission Act, which provides that married women should continue to claim their state of origin in their career progression, even after marriage, for the purposes of the Federal Character Principle. This means that she cannot be appointed to any federal post based on her husband's state of origin. She is neither here nor there. Unfortunately, this bill was shut down. I am of the view that this bill should be represented. I do not know if there are other African countries with this peculiar problem. Positive existing laws should be brought to the fore and enforced, like the Married Women Property Act of 1882, which is a statute of general application in Nigeria. Happily, in Nigeria, our constitution has taken care of this issue of property rights of women. Our Supreme Court, through decided cases, has put this matter to rest, thanks to women activism. In conclusion, due to time constraints, I cannot continue to foray into the achievements of the African woman, 60 years of her journey. But suffice it to say that she has made giant strides. Be that as it may, there is still glaring inequality. Why do I say so? Inequality is unequal access to opportunities. African women access to opportunities. How can this be circumvented? There must be justice to fix the system, to offer equal access to both tools and opportunities. I look forward to a time when we will no longer have words such as male-dominated fields. All fields should be occupied based on the individual's intellect, qualifications, and accomplishment, because we are first humans. The African woman for more than 60 years has fought, conquered, and is still conquering. If she has successfully journeyed through so many tough eras, I am confident that she will tackle with little or no effort any future impediments. Thank you. That's all I have to say for now.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Honorable Justice Florence Ikwuoma Duroha-Igwe retired has given us an excellent glimpse into how the law has come to the advantage of women in Africa. And it's a very, very incredible analogy. You painted a picture for us. It is believed that the law is the last resort of the citizens of any country. And so this would lead me into asking you how this is pervasive in other African countries, how the law can be used as a pedestal to advance the cause of women. Because something you said actually touched a nerve about the woman who took her case as a last resort to the courts of justice when her brothers denied her part of the inheritance in their father's heritage. It's a very common occurrence in some parts of Africa. This is just one of it. In so many other customs where women are relegated, how do we use the law as a profession for women upcoming to understand that it could be the pedestal they could stand on to fight the cause for the African woman?
Thank you, Clara. That's a very a question I was hoping you will put to me, because the problem we have here is not actually absence of laws. The laws are in place, like I cited the 1882 property rights, women property rights. It was there, but still women were denied, that right until legislation, recent legislations in our constitution and other laws came. So what I will advocate is that women should be told, sensitized to know their rights and to be confident and bold enough to go to court to ask that these rights be enforced. Because the laws are there on paper, but if you do not test the law, they will remain there on paper. They will not benefit the women. So if the women are told, see what the law says, you can claim your right under this law, then they will be in a better position to push for the enforcement of their rights. But in the areas where there are no laws, we now have women legislators in our houses of assembly. What are they doing? They are there to further the cause of women through sponsoring bills. Like I mentioned earlier on, this federal character bill, regulation that is working against women in Nigeria. Somebody brought up a bill, but the bill was shut down, like I said. How can you be married and still your state of origin is your original state where you were before marriage? And so if you're seeking for appointment, if there is no slot from your state where you originally came from, then you get nothing. You don't get anything from your husband's place. And yet they say that the woman and the man are one by virtue of marriage. But when it comes to reaping benefits, you are sent home to your state of origin. And meanwhile, mind you, they have forgotten you because you left many years ago. And suddenly you appear on the scene to make demands. In fact, those who are there will ask, what do you think you are doing? And so laws like that should be repealed or amended to favor the women. And in areas where there are no laws at all, we should search out these areas and sponsor bills in the legislature. Thank you.
This is extremely, very, very important in this time in history in Africa, because we have seen that a lot of the gender equality issues are being advanced from the Western world in terms of sponsorship of NGOs to drive all these issues for women here. But we are the ones on the ground as African women. We know where the shoe pinches. And if I may be able to put forth a personal opinion, a lot of women are hindered in understanding the laws of their own land because they are couched in such language that they think it's far above their understanding, only discussed in the hallowed chambers. How can we bring these laws down to the pedestal, so that women at the bottom of the pyramid can have advantage in terms of interpreting these laws, because it has huge implications over their lives. I give you an example of something that happened. There's a gentleman who has set up an NGO driven by his passion over what he sees here in Nigeria caused by domestic violence over women. And there was an instance he brought up which said, in marriage, if you only took a customary marriage as your marriage vows, you can never file for divorce in a court of law because you did not have a registry marriage that grants you a certificate to be brought to a law court, and which might actually give you some advantage as a married woman. But a lot of women do not even know this. And so when the men beat them up and drive them out of the houses, they carry the whole children and the burden of looking after those children and are abandoned. So without these laws being brought to the level of understanding for these women, how do you think they will be able to know their rights as African women?
Thank you. This situation arose in my place of worship. I am of the Methodist Church extraction. They were quarreling over my daughter married under customary law. The other one we said my daughter was married under the statute. And they did not even realize the implication of the two types of marriages. So I now sought permission of the bishop of my diocese to give a talk to the women so that they will understand what their wife, their daughters, or even themselves are getting into when they prefer one form of marriage to the other. And then I sat up there and I told them the pros and cons and what they stand to gain or lose if they choose either of the two. No, but it is not true that customary marriages do not afford any rights to the woman. No, it is just that it's a different kind of right. And again, dissolution of customary law marriage, you still have to go to court. But the court you go to is the customary court, not the high court. The high court has jurisdiction over statutory marriages. Why the customary courts have jurisdiction over customary law? But in our law, customary law marriages are valid and recognized as valid. But there are certain rights you cannot enjoy, just like in statutory marriages. That is all there is to that. But the women need to be schooled. And this is where the NGOs come in. This is where the various women organizations like FIDA and all that, Federation of Women Lawyers, they should run seminars, they should go to the villages, give talks in the churches, and even organize things, even for the market women, because a market woman will never leave her place of trade to come and listen to, unless you bring it to her. So if we sensitize women, like I said in my speech a while ago, there is need for sensitization. Now we must progress from that approach to solving our problem, to carrying this message and the rights of women to them wherever they are, so that they will know their entitlements. Because if you do not know, you cannot seek for enforcement.
Absolutely true. I'd like to thank you very much, Honorable Justice Florence Ikwuoma Duroha-Igwe, retired. You have been an amazing resource to us this afternoon. And once again, we celebrate you as a proud daughter of Africa.
Thank you very much. I appreciate it.
All right, so we move on, being mindful of time. We now go on to our next personality, but I'm being told she has some issues with the network, and I'm hoping we'll be able to sort that out while she joins us. Her Excellency, Dr. Justina Mutale, founder and president, Justina Mutale Foundation. She is an acclaimed and influential, inspirational African woman. Dr. Mutale is founder and president of the Justina Mutale Foundation and its scholarship program for underprivileged African young women. Through her foundation, she advocates for gender equality and the empowerment of women and girls in political leadership and economic empowerment by providing leadership and entrepreneurship training, mentorship, and coaching through her foundation. She also advocates for the retention and completion of tertiary education for young women and girls from rural and disadvantaged communities in Africa by providing them with university scholarships to access tertiary education around the world. Her Excellency, Dr. Justina Mutale is from the Zambia. Would like to welcome you to the program.
Thank you, thank you.
All right, Dr. Mutale, I learned you're having some issues with your connection, but we'll give you the to make a little presentation to us before we go on.
Yes, and I just hope that this will hold throughout my speech. And thank you so much. I'd like to say good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, wherever anybody's joining us tonight. And I hope that you can still see me on the internet. Can you still see me and hear me? Hello?
Yes, we can see you, we can hear you.
Oh, good, good. I just want to start by expressing my gratitude and heartfelt thanks to Joy and of course her team at the African Women in Europe for hosting this important event to commemorate the 60th anniversary of an important day to recognize and celebrate African women and their significant contributions to the political and economic development of, of course, social and economic development of Africa. See, it is a well-known fact that Africa is the richest and yet the poorest continent in the world. It is my belief that Africa can change for the better by utilizing the skills and wisdom of its women so that the continent can capitalize on its abundant wealth. The United Nations Sustainable Development Goals and also, of course, the Millennium Development Goals both have at their core gender equality and the empowerment of women and girls as a priority. This emphasis on gender equality and the empowerment of women and girls indicates that the world, or indeed Africa, cannot achieve any or all of the Sustainable Development Goals without securing the full and equal participation of its women and girls who form half of the population. To do this, I believe Africa needs to break its structural barriers, which are faced by its women and girls, including conscious and unconscious bias and institutional discrimination. I am from Zambia in Southern Africa, and I am aware that written history has depicted women in African society as dual minors. For the most part, the story of the African woman and girl child has been told through the shadow of the father or that of the husband. But this is not a true reflection of the African society that I know from where I come from. For example, while it is only in recent years that women in other parts of the world have decided to hold on to their maiden names during marriage as part of the fight for gender equality, from time immemorial on my mother's side of the family, women have always maintained their maiden name during marriage, and they never ever take up their husband's name. In fact, a girl child from my mother's side of the family never takes up their father's name. When a girl child is born, she is given her own feminine name, which she carries throughout her life. And this gives women and girls from my mother's side of the family the power of ownership over their self and their own person without having to walk in the shadows of a husband or even a father. I also know that long before the rest of the world embarked on moves towards gender equality, most African women already carried leadership roles in their communities. And for centuries, African societies were led by women and they prospered. And I speak here with a vested interest in the quest for women's leadership and gender equality. This is because I come from a background of powerful, strong, assertive women leaders, women who have defied the gender dynamics for centuries, as I have just explained about carrying the father or husband's name. And on my mother's side of the family, a woman, of course, rules the kingdom. So the men bow before her because she leads. Although a man leads the kingdom on my father's side of the family, this did not stop one strong, powerful woman to rise up and create a movement that shook the political foundations of my country, Zambia. I believe the 21st century is a century to reawaken the feminine spirit and bring feminine wealth into the leadership of Africa to empower the continent and secure its prosperity. As the birthplace of humanity and birthplace of civilization, I believe that the rising of women in Africa will be the reawakening of humanity, thereby paving a way to prosperity for the continent and the world as a whole. What therefore are our hopes for the African girl child? What are our hopes of realizing Agenda 2060, African Union Agenda 2063, and our hopes of achieving gender equality by the year 2030? Or indeed, what are our hopes of achieving a 50-50 planet as indicated in the United Nations Sustainable Development Goals? I am a mother of a girl child, a millennium girl child for that matter. My baby was born at the beginning of the century, which was the inception of the very ambitious United Nations Millennium Development Goals in the year 2000. This millennium girl child became a teenager and turned 16 when the Sustainable Development Goals replaced the Millennium Development Goals in the year 2016. My millennium baby is now 21 years old. And my millennium girl child, together with other girl children born at the beginning of the millennium and the inception of the Millennium Development Goals, will be 30 years old and will be the adults at the conclusion of the Sustainable Development Goals. And by the year 2030, these millennium girl children will be the adults. They will be the decision makers. They will be the policy makers. Our millennium girl children will be leaders of their times at the conclusion of the very ambitious Sustainable Development Goals again. As a mother, I do not wish to see my millennium girl child and her peers marching for gender equality at the conclusion of the Sustainable Development Goals, as we did at the conclusion of the Millennium Development Goals. I was very shocked to find myself marching at Times Square in New York in 2015 in what was called yet again a historical march for gender equality. And how many times are women going to march? So I do not want to see the girl child ever again marching for gender equality. However, should they find it necessary to ever march ever again, I do not want to see them marching on their feet. Instead, I'd love to see the African girl child marching with her mind, an enlightened mind, fully equipped with the necessary skills, knowledge, information, and power networks to enable her to compete on equal footing with her male counterparts. To this effect, I founded the Justina Mutale Foundation, which focuses on helping to achieve gender equality and the empowerment of women through leadership and entrepreneurship training, mentorship and coaching in political, of course, and economic empowerment. I believe that this very elusive gender battle, she needs to be adequately equipped. This is why the focus on education forms a critical part of my foundation. My foundation offers scholarships, so as the host explained, offers scholarships for the retention and completion of tertiary educations to access tertiary education at institutions of higher learning around the globe. For I believe that the provision of quality education is paramount to the eradication of poverty and its feminization. I strongly believe that every girl child has potential, and it is my hope and prayer that one day every African girl child can be given an opportunity to access quality education and enable her to reach her highest potential, so that every African girl child can escape poverty and live a fulfilling life, and that every African girl child can participate, benefit, and contribute positively to a sustainable and prosperous Africa and world at large. It therefore falls upon us to leave a legacy that prepares our African girl child to withstand uncertainty and challenges of an ever-changing, competitive, and globalized world. To do this, we need to equip our African women and girls the essential empowerment skills, tools, knowledge, and power networks, which should inspire them and motivate them and enable them to be innovative and to build those resilient mindsets that have the capacity to take up leadership roles in every sphere of life. As a gender advocate, I got so tired of hearing that the African girl child has no role model to inspire her into leadership. I found this strange as I grew up with a lot of role models from my family. I told you in my mother's side, a woman ruled the kingdom. She was a leader, and I believe one day I'll grow up to lead over the men in my country. And also, this prompted me to write this book. The book is entitled The Art of Iconic Leadership, and the tagline is Power Secrets of Female World Leaders. So I wrote this book as a gift to the girl child and the next generation of women all over the world, but also including the African girl child, to inspire them to take up leadership roles in their respective walks of life. My book chronicles the leadership journeys of those iconic women leaders, some of them mentioned by the previous speaker, that have stood out for me from historical times to date. I believe the 21st century is a time to awaken the feminine spirit. Therefore, the 21st century African woman needs to unlearn those traditions and cultures that have held us back for centuries. The African girl child needs to be empowered to have unshakable self-belief, to break down those barriers that have held African women back for centuries. The African girl child needs to believe that it is okay to compete on equal footing with her male counterparts without feeling that she is overstepping her boundaries or compromising men's masculinity. My call here, ladies and gentlemen, my call to action is for each one of us today, celebrating the 60th anniversary of Africa's Women's Day, to mentor at least one African girl child. If you can do more, that would be better. This could be your own daughter, your niece, your young sister, a sister-in-law, or even just your neighbor's child. This is the only way I believe that the African girl child can shatter that glass ceiling into pieces that will never, ever go together again. Thank you very much. Thank you.
I was so carried away listening to you. It was amazing. Since the inspiration was really deep within you, you actually transmitted that over and above this platform. Thank you very much, Her Excellency, Dr. Justina Mutale, founder and president, Justina Mutale Foundation. You deserve a real round of applause for all that you have done. It's simply amazing how our immediate environment and family have the greatest impact on our life before you move on to the world. And I'd like you to share your thoughts on how you think gender equality issues should be handled in Africa because of our different cultural values as opposed to what obtains in the West. How do we find a balance when we're pursuing agendas on gender equality?
I think that the magic there, the secret is for us to go back to who we were before we were actually colonized. I did say that for centuries, African kingdoms were led by women. Most societies were actually matriarchal, and they did prosper very much. But until colonization came in, see, before colonization, our men and women lived together on the land. They went to till the land together and they ate together off the land. But when colonization came in, it tipped the tables because it brought with it, Africa then moved from the subsistence economy of eating off the land to a monetary economy of you actually having money, as in coins and notes, in order to buy food. And when they brought this in, they had to pick the men from those households to go and work. And that made then the men became the breadwinners and considered the women as just sitting at home. And this is what tipped the tables, the status quo. If any of you have read Barack Obama's book on Dreams of My Father, he doesn't put it in this way, but there's a passage that I caught in there where he talks about whether it was his grandfather or great-grandfather, who one day was seated in his hut talking with his wife, and these colonial masters came and said to him he needed to start paying tax in the hut that he lived in. And he said, oh, but how will I pay tax? I don't even, I've got no money or coins to pay this tax. And they told him he needed to go to work. That is how they picked Barack Obama's grandfather or great-grandfather to go and work as a cook for the colonial masters. And that is what separated he and the grandmother. Then she had to stay at home and wait for him to come back and bring the bread home.
It's been an afternoon. Very, very amazing. And truly, Your Excellency, it's left to us to chart a new course for the continent, because I think there's a correlation between the oppression of the female gender and poverty in Africa, because women transmute what they have inside of them into their children. And these are people who are groomed to become husbands, to become fathers, to become ministers, to become presidents. They cannot give what they do not have. It is what the mothers instilled in them as values that you see the larger society reflect. So I do agree with you that the role of women in advancing the continent into its golden age is extremely very important. I'd like to thank you for sharing your thoughts with us this afternoon. Honorable Excellency, Dr. Justina Mutale, founder and president, Justina Mutale Foundation. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
So we move on to our next and final guest for the session for today. Permit me to introduce to you a personality I interviewed last week, and she was extremely formidable in that interview, because an interview lasted for an hour and she had me ongoing question by question and delivering each time these questions were put forth to her. Ms. Aisha Mohammed Abdallah, founder of Her Narrative, board member of the National Youth Council, Kenya. Ms. Aisha Mohammed Abdallah is from Mombasa, Kenya. She is 25 years old and wears many hats. She has a degree in education arts and is the executive director and founder of Her Narrative, an organization which advocates and creates awareness on gender-based violence, sexual reproductive health and rights, youth leadership and governance, especially for young women. Through storytelling, she was appointed as one of the board members of a government parastatal, the National Youth Council, under the Ministry of ICT, Innovation and Youth Affairs at the age of 24, as a result of the amazing work she has been doing in her community for young people. Welcome once again, Ms. Aisha Mohammed Abdallah.
Thank you very much. I don't know if you can hear me.
It's wonderful to have you once again, Ms. Aisha.
Yes, I cannot put my video on.
Yes.
I don't know what the
Can you put your video on?
I can't. It says.
Check it now. Check it.
Okay.
Oh, yes. Wait.
All right.
All right. Wonderful to have you once again, and thank you for last week.
Thank you.
Okay. So this time, we'll take on the trajectory of looking at the young people of Africa. I was very impressed by the work you have done in Kenya. Let's look at the female child and STEM education, science, technology, engineering, and mathematics. These are basically traditional educational platforms that men tend to go to in terms of the curriculum in schools. Now, a lot of young girls are being introduced to science, knowing that we're in the fourth industrial revolution. And we know that technology could transform Africa. Give us a bit of insight with your knowledge in education. And if you have a presentation, please do let us share with you.
Thank you very much. I had a presentation, yes, but mine was a bit broad with the different challenges that young women go through within the continent of Africa, from education to gender-based violence, to sexual reproductive health and rights, to political matters, and also economic issues within the African context. But right about to your question, yes, of recent years, we have seen the transition of young women and girls being sent into the STEM. This is science, mathematics, and such courses. And because people have realized how important it is to educate and empower young women and girls in this category, I think one thing that we should realize as a continent is women are more than half of the population of this country. To mean if we do not then empower them with such technical courses or such technical subjects, then we are leaving a huge part of us behind. And then how about how are we going to grow our continent to become the continent that we so desire in terms of bringing up new innovations? And you have seen a number of women being very innovative within the industry of science and technology, and even having an increased number of doctors now that the healthcare system is kind of deteriorating with the number of doctors that it has. So I think it's very important, it's very essential that we be very deliberate in making sure that we empower the young women and girls to take up such causes, because then we'll have an increased number of young people who can take up these positions once the older generation have left. And this can only happen if we mentor them, if we show them at a younger level that for a young woman, you don't have just to love the language subjects like the ones that I did, but you can be able to also do the science subjects. You can be good at mathematics just as the boy is. I think it was the notion, the environment, how we were nurtured, what we were told from the word go, that science is not easy, that maths is very hard for a young person. Such notions or such myths that were placed in our minds as young women are the reasons as to why we have very few women in this position or that did these causes. And so if we mentor and we bring in role models like Daktari, like Doctor, we had a doctor that spoke to us just recently. Many of them come and talk to girls and tell them these also are causes that young girls can take up and you can succeed in, depending on how you perform and how much hard work you put in them. So I feel, to me, the notions are the things that have made our girls not to take up such causes or do their part in terms of making sure that they are in these spaces where they can learn science subjects, practice maths as often, take up chemistry and biology, So if we do that, and again, deliberately, then we are going to achieve so much more as a continent with a number of opportunities, with the wide range of opportunities that we have as a continent. Then it means our girls can tap in them and become whoever that they want to be within this setup and within our continent.
All right, so if you have that presentation, can we have an abridged version of it? And then I'll take 2 more questions before we sign out.
Sorry, I didn't hear you.
Do you have that presentation with you? If you do,
Clara,
can we have an abridged version of it? And then I'll take 2 more questions and then we can sign off.
You're saying, sorry?
Okay, so I'm saying you have a prepared presentation. Can you hear me?
You're breaking, or is it me? Yes.
Yeah, Ms. Esha, just check your audio again. Check your audio. Just check
My audio is fine.
It's fine. Okay. Repeat the question again, Kara.
Okay, so I'm saying, do you have a prepared presentation for us?
Or prepared presentation? Yes, I shared it with my email.
Okay, so let's have an abridged version of it, and I'll take 2 more questions and then we can sign off.
Okay. So as you're aware, as a continent, we have been through so many things as young women and girls. And one thing that I realize is less research has been done on issues that are pertinent to young women and girls. In most of the time, young women and girls have been classified either as girls or as women. But there's this gap between the age of 18 to 35 that is mostly not considered, or even 24. They're nowhere to be found. So if you Google online and look at the pertinent issues that young women and girls are facing, most of the time you'll see a general information on women issues, forgetting that there are specific issues that even we need to address for young women and girls. And I categorize them into 3. We have social issues and political issues and economical issues. And in the social issues, one that came out strongly was gender-based violence. Recently, when the pandemic came in, we saw an increased rate of gender-based violence. And in South Africa, we saw that it was among the highest ranked country with increased femicide cases within the African continent. Kenya, as a country, we had 42 of our young women, 42% from the age of 15 to 49 that are going through gender-based violence within our country. And 20% of our girls are going through female genital mutilation. We also saw the same in Sierra Leone, where even the president pronounced an emergency on the rape cases and gender-based violence because of a case of a young girl that was defiled by a family member, leading to the downer part of her body going numb. And such cases has led to look at why is it that our young women and girls are going through so much, yet we are looking to achieve the Agenda 2063 of the AU. And then the second is the education, the quality of education that our girls are getting. We see that so many of our young girls are going through so much in terms of education sector. In places in my country and even within the African continent, young girls are missing out because of issues on menstruation. Why? Because they lack menstrual products, that is one. Or two, they are not able to they're not able to stay in school because of cramps and they don't know where to go. So what do? They decide to stay home. And that will be in a week, in a month, around 5 days. When we total it in a year, it's around 100 days. So girls end up missing out a lot within the setup or the school setup. So for them to achieve it becomes really hard. And then another thing I saw, it was the increased rate of unhealthy abortion, where young women and girls, and even women in general, there have been an increase. I saw research by WHO where it says each year 6 million women go through the unhealthy abortion. And then in that, 27,000 of them actually end up dying. And 1.7, what happened to them is they get to be hospitalized because of such cases. So what are we saying? And this is because our culture or our environment has made it for a young woman, when they become pregnant, then it's a bad thing. Like, oh, what will my parents say? What will happen to me? So they close it up and they decide to use unhealthy or go to places where they get the abortion done, but not in a legal way. And it's because as African countries, most of us have illegalized abortion to an extent that we are having most of our young girls going through that, you see? And then within the political setup, we have seen our young women mostly marginalized in twice. One, as a young woman, you're marginalized for being in the youth sector. They favor the young men compared to the young woman. So you are thrown out within the youth sector. When you go to the women side, we have the older women who now say, Esha, you have time. Why are you coming here? So you're not given a chance there. So you're staying in the middle without knowing what to do within the political sector. And then here we find that we are looking at increasing the number of women in the years to come in leadership position. We cannot do that if then we are not mentoring or we are not giving them the opportunity to learn from the older women. And I'm happy that I have gotten this opportunity, which is really huge, to hear and to be part and parcel, to share my story and also give or share scenarios of what young women are going through, so that we can all realize that it's important to be deliberate in giving young women opportunities to be heard and to voice out their issues. And something that I also saw that, and because that we are pushing for gender equality and close the gender gap, young women and women are given just tokenism opportunities. For example, if you want women within a particular space in the government position, they just pick any woman just to show that they have a woman because of loyalty or their own interest. And then that is not serving us well, because if this woman, it doesn't deliver, then it has locked us out as young women, because then how will they give women opportunities if those are there are not performing, you see? So the political setup also is not that good for young women, especially how expensive it is. In Kenya right now, we have elections, and it is very hard for young women to get through. We had so many women go and apply to become or to be elected, but then through negotiations, we saw some of them not getting to be among the aspirants who are going to be vied or to be voted for in the coming general elections. Why? Because the environment is still not good, or is still not at 100 for women, and especially for young women, you know. And then lastly, I looked at the economic opportunities, and one thing that came strongly was the climate change. I think this day and age, we have seen a lot of issues regarding to climate change. And it's because of that, it will be hard for us as women in general, and young women also, not to be able to achieve our right to education, our right to health, our right to all that we desire, because then there's so many things that are coming that are hindrance to us. But one thing that I wanted to say was, I think it's high time that we are deliberate in how we are looking to grow. And I acknowledge what our founding mothers have done, our mothers, and now the leaders that we have are doing in regarding to make sure that the space for young women is there, and is growing and expanding. But then we'll have to do more to make sure that we bridge the gaps and close the gaps that young women are going through, so that we have so many of us taking up these spaces, and it doesn't become a hassle in the end. And the young woman says, why should I stress myself? Yet I can get a man, get married, and stay at home, and the man decides to provide for me. I think with this, Clara, then we'll be able to increase. And I'm happy again now that we are deliberate in seeing us, or many of us, in such spaces, and celebrating the unsung heroines all over the country, especially for the young women, and getting to bridge that intergenerational disconnect that has been there by having both young women and older women, just to discuss and see how now do we come together to make sure that we push the agenda of women together. Then we are going to be better.
Thank you very much. You took the cue and put me on the spot. So I'll just take one question so we can actually be in tandem with our timing. There is something very critical that the last speaker mentioned. She spoke about the feminine spirit. And I think it's this imbalance that is actually creating a lot of these challenges in our continent. So looking at the role you are playing in developing the mental state of the girl child to believe in herself. We have a critical issue with young girls being married off at a young age in the continent of Africa, and religion does play a very critical role for this. How do we mitigate this to tell a girl that, or to tell parents that a little girl should first find her feet in the world, know who she is, before you hand her over to the care of a man, because she's not an object?
It's true. Early marriages are happening until today. We are speaking this, and we're in the 21st century, and we're still seeing 15-year-olds getting married early. And for me, it's not about telling, it's about showing them that if we educate a girl, then you are creating a better society for everyone else. And how do we show them? By having women leaders that are not just doing well, but are proof of what women can be and what we are supposed to be in this society. If we continue and if we are consistent in showing that, consistent in telling the stories of young or women that are doing well, consistent in putting or portraying women with a better or with a good view within the mainstream media, social media, and even how we speak about women, then that can happen. Because I believe most of the parents are doing it. It could be an economic issue, but they're doing it because we still see there is that preference between the boys and the girls. There is that ish when you talk about a girl. Oh, a girl can just get married, they can get some money. But now if they see that we have a doctor who is a lady and she's also good with her family, she's married and she's taking care of her family, and she can still be a doctor, then the parent will get like, okay, my daughter can also do the same. We have a president. We just in the other time we were speaking of so many presidents, and most of them are married and they have families, they have kids, and we hear that some of them maybe are the third or the fourth wives. So it means it can happen. It's just that the society needs to see more of that. And because when a person sees, I remember I posted and say, you can only be when you see. And if you cannot see, then you can never be. So we have to see more and more often. And as we do that, we should also bring in or make sure that we mainstream some of the things that we're talking within the government, because with that, it becomes easier. It becomes easier for us to be accountable and say, we said this, or the Constitution says it. Why is it that we are not following? Because with that, then we are intentional about it. We can be held accountable when you don't have women in spaces, you know, then you say we need to have a woman, and then it changes the narrative at all, because we've spoken. I think since we talked about the Beijing, when the Beijing started till that, we are still speaking about having women, stopping violence against women, stopping early marriages, but we still see it happening, because I believe the society need to see more role models. We need to have more mentors mentoring young girls, because there's the aspect of the parents, but also there's the aspect of the girl herself believing that she can be. And for them to believe, they have again to see that there's a doctor that became a doctor. She learned, she saw that it's important for her to take these courses that most of the time are found difficult, and she became who she wants to be. So I think for me is, let's have more women with these spaces. And as we have more women, let's mentor more young women to take up such spaces, and also increase the number of women within these spaces. Then we cover it all. Because now when the father looks, or the mother looks at the right, she sees another woman who is doing well. When they look at the other side, they see also another woman. So they have to ask, why is it that I'm the only one not doing it? Exactly. You know. And when you speak of religion, I think people tend to quote what's beneficial to them, because even with religion, like our religion, which is Islam, we have seen Muslim. I had one of the speakers spoke and said years back we had women taking over and were very deliberate in what they're doing, especially in leadership roles. So in our leadership, there is Khadija, who is the first wife of the Prophet, who was a businesswoman, and she was doing exemplary well. So I feel for me, religion is most people pick what they want to pick, not considering what they are doing to that young woman. And I believe, and I'm saying it again, we have to empower our girls. We have to put them in spaces, and not just put them, we have to make them believe of the power that they have in them, of the power that they possess that they've had forgotten about, for them to take up and put and make sure that they're not just there, but they are accountable in the spaces and they're doing exemplary well.
Absolutely on point. Thank you once again, Esha. It's always a delight speaking with you, and the passion is very, very tangible. And I'm very, very happy that we're bringing all this into the front burner, and we must continue these narratives until Africa is ushered into its golden age. And I'm sure we will get there. Thank you very much once again, Esha Abdullah Mohammed, for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
All right, so we'll go on now to a break, and we're going to take a very special woman who is a poet. Claire Merdes is an award-winning German-based poet. She worked in the health sector and is an author of 4 books, 3 co-authored books, and 2 books pending for launching. She's a poet, a speaker, and have participated in various health talks. She's currently researching on nursing experiences of family. She's a carer of older people with other life-threatening diseases at the end of life phase of their lives in an old people's home, and a believer in helping others. In her own little way, she believes she's a voice who speaks through her poems for the many injustices going on in Nigeria, which is her native country. She believes that her country deserves better. And she believes that God helping her, she could use her poems to draw attention to this issue. I present to you Clara Maddox, an award-winning poet.
Hello, everyone. Can you unmute my video? Are you hearing me?
Yes, check your video again.
Yes, we can hear you very well.
Check your video, you should be good.
Well, you can see me.
No, we can.
I don't know, I've tried to.
Yeah, it's clear. It's clear from our side. Check it again.
I've done it and it's not responding.
Are you on a laptop or on a cell phone?
I'm on a laptop. So it's telling me it should be from your side.
No, I'm checking the settings. Everything is good here.
So if you can see me, you can hear me, right?
Yes, we can.
So yes, I'm trying now.
Okay. Let me
check. You can still go on try to see if you can get me through the video, because it's always nice for people to see my face when I'm talking.
All right, no problem.
Yeah, okay. So first of all, before I go on, I would like to thank Joy for making it possible for me to be a part of this program and the crew. It's been so amazing, and I must commend each and every speaker. We have all to take home with this evening. I'd like to say good morning, good afternoon, good evening from wherever you are joining. And like Clara, my namesake, has rightly introduced me, I'm Clara Mayadiax. I'm based in Germany, and I am a voice. And one of the voices that is representing this dignified woman called African. And who is an African woman? For me, she's a queen, a hidden hero. She's a mother of a nation. She's a daughter, sister, wife, and an all-rounder. She is in a man's assumed world. She is strong. Yeah. An African woman manages a home. She's that natural leader men scarce to recognize in their assumed world. Oh, she's an African woman, an epitome of beauty and good leadership. Tell me about politics, and I will think of an African woman. She's that star that men fear to celebrate in leadership. She's bold, intelligent, and born leader. She's marginalized and suppressed in African continent, but she never gives up. Yes, an African politician in today's context should be a man, is a man who believes he's born to rule, who thinks he should be the president, the prime minister, and everything that has to do with leadership. Now, what is the difference? About 98% of women can do that easily. They did it successfully in the past as presidents and prime ministers. Why not now? Ethiopia and Tanzania are still upholding the flags. How about others? How about Nigeria? Today's woman is different. She's elegant, she's intelligent, she can, yes, she is able. Women are multitasking beings, enterprisers, multipliers, advocators, mediators. Families make community, and communities collectively make a nation. Women have the natural reset, which can be used in politics for today's Africa. Look at nations. Nations are being run. Nations that are run by women. Women are disciplined. They are organized. They're hardworking. They want the best for their homes. They want the best for their homes, so also the children. So would they, for the nation, we should educate our daughters, show them the way to education. They are the mother of nations. Politics, leadership, and women. Who said women can't? Women of Africa could be answers to our ailing problems. Women are promising. They are practical. They are realistic. They are economics. They are proactive. They're progressive. They are productive. Wake up, Africa, to this challenge. Give women a space. Allow women their places in politics. Politics is not only about men, it's also about women. Women can do it. They can also do it better. So give women a chance. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Clara. That was a beautiful poem spotlighting the role women have to play in all that we do in Africa, and to also be able to understand that this role is critical. Can Benga please unmute my video?
There's nothing wrong with your video.
My video is muted from your end.
Yes, it's kept on telling me that my video is muted from your end, and that's why you can't see me. Yeah.
It says you cannot start your video because the host has stopped it.
No, okay, check it again. Okay, check it. All right.
Yes, I'm back on now.
Okay.
Thank you.
All right, no
it's
problem.
technology, ladies
Yes.
and gentlemen, and we'll have to keep on, adjusting as it does go on. We're almost coming to the end of the program. Because of technical hitches at the beginning, I didn't think that Dr. Penelope would be able to present her paper. She had some technical hitches and timing issues with us. So I decided to just take questions from her from the beginning, but I meant to realize that she's back on and is intending to present her paper. Because of timing issue, I think we'll need to shift that down a bit once we take on the next two materials, and then we then take on her presentation before we sign off on the program today. So I'd like to hand over to Joy for a digital exhibition slideshow of the Unsung Heroines of Africa, who are the people we're celebrating today. Hi, Joy, is the video ready? Awesome. Okay, so we're back on. All right, now we see you, Ms. Clara. And I'm so sorry about the technical issues earlier. You know, it's part of what technology does for us. So we're going to go right into Dr. Penelope's short presentation before I hand back over to Joyce. But before I hand over to Dr. Penelope, I'd like us to please internalize this when we eventually leave this platform. From the far-flung rustic villages in Africa, every woman who have trekked miles and miles to go and get water for her family, every woman in the villages and far-flung areas in Africa that stays by those rustic mud roads to sell little things to keep to the upkeep of her family, they are all part of who we're celebrating today, because these are the women who have trained presidents, ministers, doctors, engineers, and today has been specifically chosen to celebrate them. So when we walk away from this summit today, let's continue to have that at the back of our mind, that the African feminine spirit is a critical stakeholder in ushering Africa into its golden age. So I hand over to you, Dr. Penelope, for your presentation.
Thank you very much, Clara. I would once again like to acknowledge the organizers of this program for your vision and your tireless efforts in making sure that the African woman is recognized.
Dr. Penelope? Okay, great.
I would like to also acknowledge the distinguished women who spoke this afternoon, and congratulations on the tremendous work you are doing all over the continent. It's indeed a great honor to share this platform with you. And I hope what I share in the next few minutes will shed some light on ways by which we can uphold women's achievements in a world that drives an extremely hard bargain when it comes to women making groundbreaking achievements. Indeed, life is a choice. Every day presents us with many choices to make. We sometimes choose out of need, other times out of want, and in some instances, because we really don't have any choice at all. One of the choices we all have to make, especially as women, is the choice to be relevant, not for a few hours or even years, but for generations to come. That is why I believe a topic like this is worthy of our discussion. I know I'm not shocking any of you when I say the first barrier you will have to face in achieving anything as a woman is you. You will have to make it an aim to do better than your former self every single day. You will have to develop disciplines that will stand the test of time. You will have to make it a daily decision to be true to yourself and revisit your personal visions to ensure that each day is an addition to what you set out to achieve in the first place. This means many a time cutting out of our lives and daily routines, things and people who may not in any way contribute positively to our journey. I have missed out on a fair share of important social and family functions and activities, which if not for my vision in life, I may gladly have embraced. Not pleasant at the time, but has now paid off. It is my firm belief that teamwork makes the dream work. Things can be achieved quicker and easier if we ask for help. Be sure that the team you trust agrees with you, where the goal you want to pursue is concerned, and they are ready to make the sacrifices for you. This means that you cannot be friends with just anyone, you cannot marry just anyone, and you cannot buy into just any idea social media throws at you. You will need to create an accountability group for yourself in every aspect of your life. Mentors or people who will hold you accountable for your vision, your money, your education, your time, your relationships, and your faith. As you grow, you will realize that for the most part, you will do better and best on the shoulders of those who have charted the course you are on. God, you cannot be your best without him. I am living proof that God can use anyone. There are many times when it was tough and I didn't think I would achieve the feat we are all celebrating now, but God knew he would do it. Your faith will give you strength when you are low on energy. It will be your joy when you do not see the finish line too well. It will also be your humble place because it will remind you that God did it. Practice. Always give more than 100%. Insist that you will continually get better in the field you find yourself in. Get all the education you need in your line of work. Invest in books, videos, documentaries, and anything that stirs up interest and even exposes you to new ways and inventions in your field of study or your career. Dare to dream. Bring yourself to the place where you are not limited by what people say or what they do or what they think of you. Believe me, there will be many who will not know you, yet have opinions of what they expect you to live by. There will be several others who will place limitations on you and your capabilities simply because they feel intimidated by your progress. Don't allow them to. Stay your course and don't get distracted. They don't deserve your tears. In addition to the above, awards for outstanding women achievers, mentorship programs, scholarships, and platforms such as these will go a long way in encouraging women to aim high and achieve more. In conclusion, let me quote one of Ghana's and Africa's great minds, Dr. James Aggrey. If you educate a man, you educate an individual. But if you educate a woman, you educate a whole nation. I would like to add and say that if indeed we want to see Africa develop in dimensions that we have never seen before, then it is high time women take up their place at the table of leadership and achievement. Thank you once again for the opportunity. God bless the African woman.
Thank you very much, Dr. Penelope, and I'm so glad we were able to accommodate this presentation. It's been an honor once again having you with us this evening. So it's actually been an extremely emotional and passionate day for me. And I don't think this will leave me in a long while. These amazing women I have shared today with, starting with Her Excellency, who has really inspired me with her views about educating the young female child who will drive the vision for her country. To each and every one of the other presenters I have spoken with, you have taught me so much. I have learned so much. I have learned how matriarchy in Africa contributed to growth of nation and to how the law can actually advance the cause of women. It's been an enriching day for me, and I hope for each and every one of you also. Thank you all very much for joining us. Please go to the chat section. There are some amazing opportunities open there, so you could connect with some of the people who are reaching out to some of the speakers. Kindly please get in touch with them. I will now like to call on Miss Abigail Adeze Ebunine to give us the vote of thanks to end the program.
Thank you. Thank you so much. As she step in, I just want to ask Her Excellency to just stick there because she's going to give us a closing remarks. Please start on the standby. So welcome, Abigail. So we are coming now to the side, to the closing part. And what I want to also, just as Abigail come in, is just to make sure that most of you are aware that it's important to always work together with the younger generation, and that's why we are working all very closely to make sure that this happens in all the events that we're doing. And I'm going to hand over now to Abigail, who missed in the first part. As you noticed when we started, she had missed, and this is her say now. Welcome, Abigail, And I salute you and I celebrate you today because you have been hero in all this organization. And as we go on to the second part of the closing remarks.
Thank you so much, Joy. Thank you so much. Wow. Thank you, Ms. Sarah Okoro. I'm short of words, honestly. It's been such an inspirational session. And I want to say a very big thank you to all our esteemed guest speakers. I've learned so much. It's been a powerful and very encouraging session with our guest speakers. And just before we round up, I think I would like to highlight a few things which I've picked up from our guest speakers. And I think it's very important that we drive the point home because they've spoken so well, extensively on so many topics relating to African women. And it's important that we take the message home. So I would start with Her Excellency, Mrs. Monica Chakwera, the First Lady of Malawi. And she said, women and girls must be protected and empowered. And I want to champion that. And this is the first thing, something I picked up from her statement initially. And I'm so happy to hear about that because with her position, I already see that she's doing amazing. When I read her profile, I could see what she's doing with her foundation. And I'm just so happy that we have African women who are doing amazing things. So thank you so much, Your Excellency. She also said, once a girl is educated, her children will be educated. We can't, hammer this enough. It's so important. I think it's very important that we keep on ensuring that the girl child gets the education that she needs, because we might be shocked to know that in some parts of Africa, there are still places where, probably the girl child is not given that chance to be educated. And this is what our guest speakers have touched on. And it's so important that we take this message out for young girls to know that education is powerful. At least you can see that from the wonderful panelists we've had. Education has played a big role in all of this. So thank you so much, Your Excellency. And then I also want to touch on what Dr. Adinku said. She said there's a lot of work to be done to educate the public. Now, this is, again, so much work has to be done. This is just the beginning. Again, Africa's Women's Day, we're here to create awareness and touch on topics that, matter a lot pertaining to the African girl child. And so we need to keep on doing the work to spread that news. And she also said that this program will lead to empowering women and will also give us a voice. I certainly agree with that. I for one, have been inspired, and I'm so eager to keep on achieving what I have to achieve as an African woman, not minding any hindrances. And then I also want to touch on what my Lord, Honorable Justice Florence Ikwuoma Duroha-Igwe has said. She said that the African woman is a phenomenon which can never be celebrated enough. And again, we can see what's happening. We've seen all the 31 women we've spotlighted this month, and their achievements. It's been so inspirational, from the volunteer in a village in Cameroon to a wildlife veterinary doctor, to a CEO, the CEO of Rwanda, to lawyers, to members of parliament, we have featured so many amazing women. And this is why this theme for this year is honestly so inspirational, because you can see these women across various fields doing amazing things. And my Lord also said that until equality is achieved, the struggle continues, and we must take the message to the grassroots. Every woman must know her rights. I mean, we can't emphasize this enough. The message has to get down to, the least women. And again, this is something that I think we should all talk about and know how we can, foster this through this platform, any help we can get to ensure that women who are, just like Joy had said, or just like Ms. Clara said, actually, the women we're celebrating today are those women who are, not known. They are women who have trained, their children and produced engineers, doctors, just by selling fish on the roadside, or just by, frying bean cake. These are amazing women, because without their contribution and their sacrifices, we wouldn't have, those professionals as we have today. So I think my Lord made a very interesting point. And then also going ahead to the other speakers, we have Dr. Justina, who said that the story of the African woman, the African woman girl child, has been told through the shadow of the father and the husband. And it's so important that we know these things, because again, we are the only ones that can tell our story. And this is why this session is so important. This day is so important. We have to keep on telling our story, you know, because only us can do that. And then Ms. Esha Mohammed spoke as well. She's such an inspiration because we had her earlier on this month, and she did amazing. She inspired a lot of people through her boldness and her wisdom, and we're so thankful. And then finally, Dr. Adinku closing with that excellent speech. I just don't know what to say. It's amazing. One thing that I took out from there is that God can use anyone and to stay focused. So I'm just so thankful for this opportunity. It's been awesome. And I like to also thank the Ianu Band for the great music that they gave us during the first break, and also Mrs. Clara Hagen, Mederedix. I hope I pronounced the name well, but thank you so much for the poem that you gave. This has all joined to make this session awesome. Thank you also to Ms. Clara. Ms. Clara, you were born to do this. That's what I can say. You were born to do this, and you're admired. So thank you so much for leading the discussion. And I also want to give a chance to our team members who are behind this event to at least introduce themselves for 2 minutes, because this whole event would never have taken place without the efforts and sleepless nights some people have, you know, put in to make it happen. So I'll start with myself. I'm Miss Abigail Adeze Onibunye from Nigeria. I am a medical physiologist and I'm also a graphic designer. And I'm very happy to be amongst this team to keep on creating awareness for this day. So I'll just hand over to the other team members. Thank you so much, Joy. Thank you.
Thank you so much. I'm just going to, I thought Mavis and Benga and as well, Raman, please put your camera on so that people see who are these people behind, as Mavis said. And I've been the one who's been coordinating in the back end. The ladies here, Abigail has done really amazing. And all these flyers you're seeing here, it's them. So I also want to give the men, there we also have the men in their background, and I can see Benga there. Please go ahead. Gentlemen, don't be shy. Join us here on the stage. I know you have been saying you're working in the background, but we appreciate you. Go ahead, Benga, and introduce yourself.
Hello, good morning. My name is Benga Subai, Honorable Madam First Lady, the Honorable My Lord, and to all the distinguished guests and my team members, thank you very much. Happy African Women's Day, and it's always special and historic when celebrating this monumental occasion. And as always, when women do well, Africa does well. Thank you very much.
Thank you as well. Mavis, as well, put your camera on as Raman is coming in. Please go ahead, Raman, the stage is yours. You're muted.
Okay. Hello guys, my name is Raman. I am from Nigeria. I actually live in Abuja, and I'm excited for this day, especially for the women. I don't want to express my entire excitement because I should be dancing from over here, but it's okay. Thank you guys, I'm grateful.
Thank you for your time and helping us in the background, getting structured and organized. That's the work of a supportive team, and we love that. So Mavis is the lady who was compiling all those ladies who you saw in the list. Mavis, go ahead and mute yourself. We want to see you. Yes, unmute yourself. We understand technical is not always on the side.
Hello?
Yes, we can hear you now. Go ahead.
Okay. All right. Okay. My name is Mavis Owusu. I'm from Ghana and I am the owner of Flavors Bakery, where I'm basically into baking of bread. I'm an author of one book called Executive Decision and also a financial consultant. So that's what I have to say. Thank you.
Thank you for your time and the work that you do, and we appreciate it because it comes a long way of putting this information together right from the, we start this in really early in the year, and we are happy for your contribution as well, and that's why we have this day to celebrate each and every woman on this stage. So I'll just go ahead and also mention, because I've seen there in the chat a lot of questions. What is going to happen after this? Are we going now to go back and come back next year and start again? And this is something that we have been thinking as a team, and how to move this forward. And as Abigail said, we need to celebrate it. This cannot justify the time that we can have like all 31 ladies coming in here. So I wanted to also give you that we are going to follow up this in all the 31, and I'm hoping when we knock your door, you're gonna come, and Mavis and Abigail and Clara get ready, and as well the gentlemen will be interviewing one-to-one all these guests that we have been elevating, because we need to know more, deeper, dig deeper. As you heard, the ladies want to hear more, and the gentlemen in the chat, and that's what we are acknowledging here, that we're going to continue this. Last year we were not very well organized, but this time we're going to go to the next step, because AWD is all about awareness, and not only awareness, how can we bring the bridges together, as you heard for Panolob and also from Miss Aisha. They need to get hold of these leaders closer. And I have to say, what I listened from Pan-African Women organization that they're celebrating right now, they mentioned they have programs that are coming. So we'll be sharing them with you as well, whatever programs. We work very closely with them. We're very complementing each other, and we are actually celebrating them as we speak today. It's their work that they did before and what they're doing, and that's what we are pushing forward. And I want to say that that is going to be shared with you. And on top of that, also check out all sectors that are coming up and all other organizations, women who are doing amazing work out there. And I also want to encourage you, I've seen on the chat, we have shared you all the links, and I encourage you to go to Africa's Women's Day.Africa. The link will be shared on the chat. Follow up what we have done last year, what we are doing this year, and we have a community platform. Sign up on that community platform so that we are able to reach you and when we have this information, because the information is useless if you cannot share it and you cannot reach the people. So we need to reach you only when you are able to sign up as a committee. We already have a platform of almost 900 from the last time, when you're combining it and growing it much more. And I'm very delighted to tell you that we are moving fast and very, very in the digital world. Hopefully next time we'll meet in person. We are partnering with others. If you are a sponsor and want to support our movement or even collaborate with that, we are reaching out to you to come up to support us, to make this an awareness that not in the continent especially, that people know that this day exists and it's ours. So our plans are very active, and please stay on as we get entertained. Don't go away. We have the entertainment coming up after this going on, but I want to hand over now to Her Excellency, because what her speech was very helpful, and I thought let's give her this stage again to give us a parting word so that we can really go home with something to digest. And we salute you with all the work that you're doing on the continent, being even a second there as a chair of many organizations, because I've seen so many organizations that you have been following up, and as well together with last year we had Joyce, Her Excellency, former President of Joyce Banda here, very powerful. We see Malawi, you have the energy we need, and we need to continue it. So thank you so much. I hand over the stage to you as you empower us as a closing remarks for today.
Thank you once again for having me today. I have also learned a lot, and I'm overwhelmed. Allow me to express my sincere gratitude to all of you for your dedication and participation in the 60th anniversary celebration for the African Women's Day. The meeting today has clearly shown that progress has been made on the continent regarding the women's empowerment. More work still needs to be done, like some presenters have already talked about. For instance, here in Malawi, we are also making progress, like you have said. We have had a female president. We have now a speaker of parliament who is a female. We have secretary to the president and cabinet who is female. The Director General of Anti-Corruption Bureau is female. The Ombudsman is female. The Director General for Financial Intelligence Authority is female. The Inspector General of Police has just been put in place just recently, is also female. And the law also does its work, like our, the presenter who was presenting on law, like she said, the law helps. We have a law that says representation, say in the cabinet, should be 40-60. It can be 40 female or 40 male, 60 women. So they should be, I mean, deliberate moving towards women taking up greater positions, doing stuff. And we have seen that this is helping a lot in putting women in important positions, and their dedication, by God's grace, those people that I've mentioned here are very well-known, strong, and they make good decisions. And so far, people have been very happy with what they have been doing, and that will be opening up avenues for other women to take up higher positions. So politically, the political will should be there. And once the political will is there and women that are given those positions or elected to those positions do well, then we'll be moving the right direction where women can take part in the development of the country and organizing stuff and things like that. So, like you said, the battle is still on. We are not there yet. Definitely, we are not there yet. And I like what our presenter said about the girls, because much as we say the leaders of the future, but they need to start now. By the time they're 24 years, like our presenter, and they know as much as our presenter does, the way she was presenting here, I'm thinking even here in Malawi, I think we'll be somewhere, we'll really be. And like you said, the younger generation in Malawi, more than half are less than 30 years old. So we need to go that direction. The cycle of poverty and gender inequality must be broken, and we must be deliberate about it. The gender gap must be closed at all costs. And as you say, deliberate efforts will help us. According to the Global Partnership for Education, women are responsible for 60% of work done globally, yet they earn 10% of income and 1% of property. Especially in Malawi, they are the ones who work a lot in the gardens and stuff, but they don't own the land, you know? So all these, the law and all other instruments and political will should help us to go in the right directions. So 70% of women are excluded financially in Africa. That's what some statistics say. And I'm like, in Malawi, for example, women are more than men. So if 70% are excluded, I think we need to work even harder. I'm so grateful for people that organized this. At least we are talking about it. At least we are working towards it. I think very soon we will be doing, yeah, we need to seriously think, seriously put effort. Like I said, both from government, stakeholders, men, women, we should all work together so that this can really move. Gender equality is a must for Africa as a continent. The way I've seen it, it's not only in, at first I thought maybe it's only in Malawi, but I think it's Africa-wide. So we need to work together so we can help. Once we hear stories like from other countries, we'll also be encouraged to say, okay, let's push this direction, let's push that direction. Access to quality education and mentorship, for me, I think is critical. Especially mentorship, somebody was giving us speak on mentorship. I agree totally, and I even wrote down notes. I think we need to re-strategize. We started a mentorship program, but I think we are not there yet. But I've learned a lot, and I think those thoughts will help us also re-strategize how mentorship can help out with our young girls. So collaboration and coordination is what we need here in Africa. Between countries, within countries and all that, I think it will help us to move forward. So without collaboration, we cannot build the pillars our girls and mothers used to get. For them to get out of poverty, we need to strategize. And the law is also very important, like you say. If they don't own property, you know, we need to work on that as well. So in Malawi, I think they say property is owned by very few women. It's mainly male. And of course, it depends on the cultures as well. But we need to make legal resolutions. I mean, a legal resolution to say, okay, how should we make it property available to women as well? And then I think that will help us even down the line of our children. I thank you for your attention. Thank you.
Thank you so much for that closing back, and we appreciate you for your presence today and all the guest speakers, honorable guests, doctors. We appreciate your time today, and all the listeners who have tuned in here on Zoom, as well as YouTube, as well as Facebook. We are all over Twitter, LinkedIn, name it. We are there, Clubhouse as well. I can see you're all coming in, listening. We are all there. So this time, this digital world, and we're explaining. So what I'm gonna leave you with that is, as I heard from Africa, Pan-African, is about Viva Africa, Viva, all of us that are Africa women. And what I learned today is Malombongwe. It's part of South Africa, meaning that women moving forward. So I want to end just this session here as we welcome our band. If they're ready, we are now going to get entertained and celebrate.
No, they left.
Oh, sorry.
I sent a message, yeah.
Okay, unfortunately that the time has really gone fast, but we appreciate you. We're going to play the video that we showed you earlier on, and God bless you. And let's meet again, not only until 31st July, we're gonna meet you again. Thank you, everyone, and have a lovely Sunday. God bless you. good evening, and I wish you all the best, and see you next time. Benga, the stage is yours to close.
Okay, all right. Thank you, everybody. Thank you for attending the 60th anniversary of the African Women's Day celebration. I hope you had a good time. I hope you learned a lot. I know I definitely learned. And the issue of African women, as always, when African women do well, the continent does well, and everybody wins. So thank you, everybody, and tune in again for next forums and discussions that will come up. Thank you very much. Have a wonderful Sunday, and happy African Wednesday once again. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.